I haven't gotten a phone call. I haven't gotten a text message. I got one phone call from the Steelers PR people, just pretty much just saying, hello, what's up? How you been? Kind of like hinting at the idea that there's going to be some sort of press conference in the next coming weeks or something about the new players, as there always is, just to check on things, make sure I was going to the owners' meetings. That was it. The only phone call that I've gotten all day. Have gotten zero updates, which means that nothing is happening, that there are no conversations being had today, that it is just sit and wait time for the Pittsburgh Steelers, which brings up so many things. Everybody is freaking out one way or another. I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's just a good time for us to all just practice some patience, just sit around and say, it's going to be okay, because it can't get worse. That's the craziest. It can't get worse. There's no way for this to spiral into something worse than what it has already become. And I'm on board with Aaron Rodgers. I think I've convinced myself that Aaron Rodgers could become something pretty good for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I've spent many days kind of diving into, I really truly believe that Aaron Rodgers has enough left in the tank for the Pittsburgh Steelers to build it around him, which they have, and just say, you're not the quarterback that's here to save us. You're just our good quarterback. And that might be exactly what Aaron Rodgers needs at this point in his career. But it's quiet, and that brings up a lot of noise, obviously. Let's start with the biggest misconception, okay, in the entire thing. And that is everybody reporting, or rumors flying, or the radio people talking, or whoever, which I'm a talking head too. So I'm not bagging on anybody. I'm just saying words. Talking about how Aaron Rodgers has gone silent, how he is ignoring the Pittsburgh Steelers and making them wait, and how this is just so dramatic and it's terrible. And I can't believe he's doing this. And the Steelers shouldn't be waiting around for Aaron Rodgers. Maybe they shouldn't be waiting around for Aaron Rodgers. Maybe that part of it is true. But this is just what happens. This is just how these things go. Justin Fields left the Pittsburgh Steelers completely silent without returning a phone call on an offer that he was the only one. They were the only one that was willing to make an offer to, or that could make an offer to him. He had it on the table. There was no phone call for negotiation. And I don't know, maybe it was the end of the negotiations. Maybe it was, this is our final price, period. There it is. Went 4 days without calling the Pittsburgh Steelers back, leading up to free agency, where he called them and said, I'm going to the New York Jets. That's what I'm doing. So sorry, guys. So this is just how this happens. This is just how negotiations go. Players do these things, especially when they have the opportunity to wait and decide. Names like Aaron Rodgers have built up a career high enough that you are the guy that you're going to get a job somewhere. It's up for him to decide where he wants to go, which isn't great for the Steelers, but they've put themselves in this place. They've done this to themselves. And when it comes to like getting worse, it's not going to get worse. Who are you going to miss out on in the meantime? Russell Wilson? The Steelers don't want Russell Wilson. They want everybody but Russell Wilson. They're willing to dive in to the depths of the quarterback market before they want Russell Wilson to return to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's why he's going to the Browns, because he's looking at this going, I don't even have a market. I have to figure out some sort of market. He's not going to Cleveland to walk in there and be the pole position starter. Him and Kenny are going to compete, maybe with Shedeur Sanders. And that's just how dry his market is, because the Pittsburgh Steelers have been in communication, but they don't necessarily want him to be their starting quarterback. They'd look at other places. I mean, DK Pittsburgh Sports brought up yesterday that they called Mason Rudolph. That's where they're looking. They're looking everywhere but Aaron Rodgers. I just don't think that there needs to be this massive sense of urgency between the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers. Now, if this draws out a week, that's a different conversation. But it's been 72 hours. And I think at this point, it's like, it's okay. Like, you weren't allowed to talk to Aaron until noon on Monday. So you were talking at noon on Monday, which I get it. Legal tampering period isn't actually when things start, but let's say noon on Monday. Let's say they follow the rules. Noon on Monday. It's been 48, 52 hours since those conversations began. It's not like it's been a month. It's not like it's been since January. For the Steelers, it feels like it's been since January because they've been putting off signing a quarterback way longer than they should. That part I agree with. I think the criticism towards the Steelers is very much so real and true. But I think on the Aaron Rodgers side of things, it's, a little early to be acting like this guy's leaving everybody on a string dangling for weeks at a time. He's not. It's been 2 days. That decision could come tonight. That decision could come during this podcast. That decision could come tomorrow. Who knows when it comes? Now, again, if it's a week, you make phone calls and you hey, okay, we're going in different directions. But the Steelers will start to think and do that. That's not how they operate. Omar Khan's not going to sit around and be a sucker. He's just giving Aaron Rodgers time to breathe because they are optimistic about things. And at the same time, Russell Wilson goes to the Giants. That works in the Steelers' favor. That just made Aaron Rodgers less expensive because his options or his demand is much lower. That's how I view this waiting thing. I don't think it's that bad. I honestly think that when it comes to free agents, Cooper Kupp's still signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't even know what other wide receivers are still floating around out there. That Stephon Diggs, Amari Cooper, whoever it would be, if that's the position, would still sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they'd be under full understanding that the Steelers have a plan at quarterback, and the Steelers would lay that plan out. I don't think it's holding them back at all. And from everything I've been told, it's not holding them back at all. It's not. There aren't free agents sitting around wondering, man, I wonder what the Steelers quarterback situation is going to be. They've been very transparent of what their plans are, whether it's plan A, plan B, plan C, to get a quarterback in the building. And because of it, guys have been pretty responsive. And if you're sitting there going, well, they haven't signed anybody, who has? Chris Godwin went back to the Bucks. Darius Slayton went back to the Giants. There hasn't really been the big, giant, crazy signing at wide receiver that everybody's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. It's been all little guys. Cooper Kupp's the first name to emerge as a real possibility for the Steelers. And he just hit the open market 14 or 19 minutes ago. So there doesn't even have to be a worry about free agency signing. I just don't think right now it's time to panic about the Pittsburgh Steelers and Aaron Rodgers. Things are still rolling pretty well. If quarterback's the last place you plug in, be patient because it might work out. Your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers, where things stand? I mean, you got to view it all from what was most likely, knees on the ground in the bathroom, but you got to view it all. What's your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, as far as the timeline's concerned, I mean, you got to think the guy goes into a 3-day darkness retreat every time he makes a decision, and he's got 2 decisions to make. I mean, everybody expects him to play football next year, but he hasn't outwardly came out and said that he is planning on playing football next year. So that's 3 days for the decision to play football, 3 days for the decision on where to play football. So, if we're on Rodgers time, which it seems like the Steelers are on Rodgers time right now, we still probably got 3 or 4 days before he decides to make a decision. So, as far as the timeline's concerned, I get it. They had to have a sense of urgency if they wanted to get things done with Justin Fields, because as we saw, he ended up being one of the 2 most hotly contested quarterbacks on the market. It was him and it was Sam Darnold. And after that, there's a reason there hasn't been very many quarterbacks signed. And if they have been, it's to play as a backup. So as far as the timeline's concerned, I know it's unfortunate. I know we all want an answer because we speculated for 3 months and most of us were all saying, well, it's going to be Justin in the end anyway. And whenever that curveball is thrown, whenever the New York Jets decide that they want to just pay all the money, who cares if it works or not? We're just going to overpay them and see if throwing a lot of money at this problem is going to fix it. Whenever that happens, it sends you into scramble mode. But whenever the market is this dry, when it comes to actual talent, it's going to take some time, especially when you're waiting on a 41-year-old to make a decision. So I'm not overly concerned about the timeline here. I agree with what you said yesterday that of the options remaining, unfortunately, it probably is Rodgers, something that I didn't want to see. I wanted to see Justin Fields because I thought that this team going into next year is not a team that I can see vying for a championship. And that's where the difference comes between me and the Steelers. And I think that's where the difference comes between people that want Rodgers and don't want Rodgers. If you think this team can vie for a championship, yeah, you're probably okay with Aaron Rodgers, because at his best, he might be able to still get you there. At the very least, he's done it before. Whereas if you don't think they are, then what you want to see is the Pittsburgh Steelers try to figure out their answer for the future. And if I don't see them being a championship contender, and I want to see them try to figure out who their guy is for the future, in no way, shape, or form is that a 41-year-old quarterback. I don't care what his name is or how many MVPs he has behind him. So that was always my biggest hang up on Rodgers. But now that we're here, it's the best option you have. Whether you're trying to vie for a championship or not, that's probably the best quarterback available on the market.